Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back, Don's Hot Rod Garage. Big Don with you. Um, Chilly morning today, Friday. It's like October the 28th. I believe that's the date today. Um, but later on today, I'm supposed to be going to getting a complete 265 power pack engine with the original carburetor, and it's got the V8 6-shift bell housing on the back, and it also comes with what looks like, from one little crooked picture, Super T10, a Borg Warner Super T10 4-speed. So if that checks out, that'll actually probably be the transmission that I run in the convertible. The Super T10s have a little bit more of a wide ratio, and if you get a 6-ring Super T10 made in the real early 80s in the Z28s and the Trans Ams and stuff, maybe even a Corvette, the 6-ring, it has a 342 first gear. So, it doesn't take much horsepower at all to make a car feel like it's flying with that kind of a first gear and a 4-speed, which I don't know exactly which one it is, but it does look like it's a Super T10 4-speed. And I just went last weekend and picked up picked out a 4-speed from a buddy of mine. It's a 64 M20 that I got to order the synchronizer kit and the reverse gear kit, and then I'm gonna go out there and he's gonna show me how to rebuild it. So after that point, once I learn how to rebuild a 4-speed, he's done it a bunch. He said there's not much to it. Then I won't be afraid to tear into one and just freshen it up before I put it in the car. Because at the end of the day, all my cars, each and every one of them, I want them to be a 4-speed. Whether they're fast or not, I just like hearing the exhaust, hearing the engine, and just, cruising it, just shifting through the gears. It enhances the experience for me. But this 56 power pack engine that I'm planning on getting this afternoon, depending on how it works out, I may pull the heads and stuff off of it and put it back on my other 56 power pack. I'll show you right now. But in this car, my 55 Chevy, it's got the original motor, which doesn't look like much right now, but this is the original motor out of my 56 Chevy Nomad, my dad's car. We had found it in a garage not too far from where I grew up in 1997, and this motor was in that car and it was totally complete. But since then, I sold a 55 Chevy that I had with this engine in it. Then through a series of events, I was able to track this engine back down, so it's come back to me. And I was thinking how cool it would be to put this engine back in that 56 Chevy Nomad. It's a, I don't know if you could see it, FB. It's an original power pack, with the power pack heads, 4-barrel intake, dual exhaust. It would have been in that 56 Chevy Nomad. So the one I'm going to look at today has the heads, has the intake, has the original carb, has everything that this motor used to have, but lost it along the way. And the 56 Nomad has a 327 in it that's 30 over, that's just been rebuilt with a 350 turbo. But down the line, let me shut this because we ain't got no hood hinges holding nothing together. So down the line, it'd be cool to put the original motor back in it, I think, and dig up a power steering for it and make it a 4-speed. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. You seen the beginning of the video. I was down at my work, and I watched that video, and I just wanted to say sorry for saying 56 Chevy Nomad so many consecutive times. So it's kind of almost like a broken record. But anyways, in that video, I was saying how I was going to go potentially get a complete 56 Chevy 265 And I ended up getting it, and it turned out to be a cool engine. It has never been touched. I mean, it's all 100% original. And I was talking to the guy. I guess the guy had a 56 Chevy that was wrecked. He couldn't remember what body style the car was. Not that it really matters, but I guess he said his dad had kept that engine or that car for the whole complete car, hoping to fix it. And then eventually he stripped it out and saved the drivetrain out of it. So that was, from what he can remember, in the 60s, this engine got pulled out, and it's been in a block garage, a dry garage, for all that time, you know. I mean, that's 50 some years it's sat in there. And I would say it'd probably be tough for you to find an engine that's this original, being as old as it is. And it's still got the original carburetor, starter, all kinds of cool stuff. And I was planning on just sitting it in my 57 Nomad for right now, just to keep it safe. And I'm still going to do that. I just got to find the front motor mounts for it, because I just looked and it's missing the motor mounts. But let's check out the engine that I picked up today. So you can see it hanging there. Let me try to let it down some, and then we'll check it out a little bit more. It was sitting on them blocks and stuff. I just now pulled it out of the truck. I'm just trying to take it slow so it doesn't fly down. This is my dad's old engine hoist. You know, when we got this thing, it was like 1983 or 1984 at the Ford swap meet at the Ohio State Fairgrounds. That sucker right there was top of the line. Nobody had they called them cherry pickers back then. Nobody had one of them. It's still here. It's went through maybe about 7 or 8 of them Rams through its lifetime. But let's see. I told the guy this was done back when people really cared about stuff. 52,000 actual miles. HP. Must have scratched that off, because it's kind of like a blank area right there. But it should say 205 horsepower with power pack, 56 Chevy. So once I get this sucker off, I'll just nail this right to the garage wall where I can always remember his dad. That's pretty cool. Like, he took the time to cut it, drill the holes and everything to keep nothing from coming inside of it. But this engine right here is just as original as they get. This don't go to. This kind of looks like a tractor belt. Sucker's on there. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that's like a tractor belt or something. But you can see it's got the 56 was the first year for the power pack heads. And it has the 56 power pack heads on it. It's got the original water pump. I mean, it's a real cool piece. This is for your generator. This is for your generator. Go right there. But it's been in dry storage. I think it'll start. I mean, he must have drained the oil. It's got a smidgen on it. Don't look too bad, really. But I mean, you just don't find original engines like that no more. Not from 56. And I've got the starter to it. It's got the distributor. I got the carburetor. But what's cool about this is I was looking at the suffix code, and you see how it says GL 56 GL, and these are just like, I'm not real sure what them numbers go to, but the F means it was This engine was made in Flint, Michigan. 56 GL is for a power pack with a manual transmission. Most of your Flint, Michigan engines have that plug right there. So, one thing that I thought was wicked cool, look how it says GL on the bell housing. So this engine must have been assembled like this, and as the cars was coming down the line, they would look at the back, I guess, and know, well, there's the engine that goes in this specific car. Because you can clearly see where it went all the way down through GL, and that's the same. And you can see it right there, GL. So this was an original power pack stick shift engine. And I'm not real sure. I'd have to take the valve covers off and look. But it might have silo lifters in it. And it's obviously, that's the original bell housing to this motor. But if you look, the bell housing was never painted. They just kind of painted the back of the block. And look how the paint just kind of run down the sides of it, which is really cool. I never knew that. I thought the bell housing would have been painted, but I mean, you could see where all the paint just ran down the side of it, and even over here too. I wish it had the little fork for your clutch linkage, but I've got plenty of them. But I mean, this engine's never even been sat on the ground because the tube down here is perfect. The oil pan's perfect. So the way he had it sitting, it never sat on the ground. And I think this engine will run. I'm definitely going to try it. And like I was saying at the beginning, I'm going to drop it down in here, but I got to find my front motor mounts. And then I'll sit it in here just for safekeepings. And originally I was going to pull this motor apart for the one down at my work. That power pack engine, but I'm not. I'm going to leave this all original. You just don't find them original like this. So then it come with this, which is a Super T10 4-speed. And if you look, it's got 1, 2, 3 rings. This is a wide ratio. It's got a 264 first gear in it. So this transmission right here will more than likely end up in there. And I'll take the side cover off of it, and look inside there and make sure everything's shifting real good. And here's the original starter to it. See if it'll focus in. 6C12. That's March the 12th, 1956. I mean, look at the condition of that starter. And it's got the brace on the front, which is kind of hard to find if you need them. So, it's got that. It's got the old Borg and Beck. See it right there? Borg and Beck style. That's what they call this with the 3 fingers. That's the Borg and Beck style clutch. The one that's got all the small fingers around it's a diaphragm clutch. And you can even see the springs in there. This is more of the older style clutch. They're a great clutch. A lot of people like them, but I like the more modern ones. And here's the clutch disc. It's actually really in good shape. I mean, honestly, I could clean all this stuff up and inspect it and put it right in that car, or save it for another car down the road. And here's the carburetor. Let me see if I can squeeze past the engine. This is the carburetor that was on that motor, and I'll set it back down on there. And you can see 2366SA. So I'm sure that's specific for a 56 265 power pack with a manual transmission. And, you know, the more I started looking at it, and it even come with the little belly pan. And normally these are all beat up. It's in really nice shape. I mean, it's never done nothing except left the factory, and this guy saved it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I'm sure this is probably for the clutch linkage. clutch spring. So I'll be putting the majority of this stuff back on this engine. But like that belly pan, I need that for the convertible. And I can't remember if I've got this inspection pan or this inspection cover or not for the convertible. Because you're supposed to be able to undo the, kind of like how he did it. Undo the pressure plate and take your pressure plate and your clutch disc out through the bottom. See how this is all open without having to take off the bell housing or anything. So, and then here's another date. See, what is that? C9. So that's March the 9th of 56. And even the block is dated March 14th of 56. I'm sure the intake is dated as well. Yeah, right there. C16, or C, excuse me. That's C1, that's March the 1st of 56. So this was a March built engine. And, you know, I love it. You just don't find cool stuff like this no more. I mean, even all the original spark plugs, they're all right up here, and he took out both of the drain plugs to let the coolant out of them. And these bolts that are in here, I had just pulled off of here. And there's the original 2 intake bolts. So, I mean, you just don't find this stuff at all, ever. What's the date on that? Okay, so that's a little early, but that's probably how that comes. See, that's L16 of 5. That's December the 16th of 55 on the distributor. But it's a 869. That's a power pack distributor. And you know, I know a lot of people don't really even care about this stuff, but this, to me, this is what I love about it. This is the originality of it. To think somebody wrote that the beginning of either late December or late 55 or the beginning of 56, GL, as they assembled it. I mean, it's got all the original hardware. It's just, it's hard to find stuff like this. And right here, you would put a little dab of oil down there to keep your shaft oiled up on your distributor. So, I got to find some engine mounts, because I don't even want to sit this on the ground. I don't want to damage the oil pan or that road draft breather. And then eventually I'm gonna stuff it in that 57 Nomad, and it could just sit there until I don't want to hurt it. It could just sit there until. And then now that we're looking at the back, see how they made a improvement on 56. It has the oil filter. And look how the road draft comes down. Comes all the way down. And it just, this road draft tube it goes all the way down and just dumps right onto the ground. Any blow-by you would have would come right out of there. See, in later years, they ran it around the back and went into the carburetor. It would have went right in there. Try to reburn it. But on a 55 block, see, there's no one home over here. There ain't even room for oil filter. And look how the road draft goes down through that. Just straight through the block. And that's capped off over there. So, yeah, I'm real happy with it. I just got to dig up some of the motor mounts and get that thing stuffed down in there. And more than likely that Super T10 will be going in the 55 convertible. And I might steal the starter and some other stuff. Definitely that bell housing cover, just to get my engine running. And then This little thing right here is pretty wild. If you look at it, them screws right there, that's where you adjust your floats. That's where you adjust your floats. Still even got the rod on it. Let's see if I can. These things are heavy. I'm trying to stand it up where I can see. It's kind of dirty in the front. It really needs taken apart, but it's still, the barrel's still open on it. The back ones are kind of stuck a little bit, but you just flat out, I wish you would have had the air cleaner. As you could tell, that's the stud for the oil bath air cleaner. But it's fun. But anyways, you just don't find that stuff no more. So I figured I'd bring you along. That's a cool little treat, at least for me. And, you know, that's where, between that engine right there and this engine right here, this is where it all started for Chevrolet. You look at this one. That one's orange, 55. The 56 is red. They said the hot one's even hotter. They called that one the hot one. They said the hot one's even hotter. So, alright guys, well, hopefully you enjoyed the video. This stuff's all cool to me, and you know, like I told the guy, you just don't find this stuff no more. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for your time. Thanks for stopping by Don's Hot Rod Garage. I'll catch you guys on the next video.